Why, hello there, Starducks and Starmies alike. Starducks and Starmies alike. Shams Nelson here from Pen and Blade. And in this episode of Sketch-O-Rama. Okay, I'm way too charged up. We're going to be just sketching some oramas. Because I was about to do a live stream with Phil, the Philcom, and doing some character design stuff. And we didn't quite, the internet just basically stopped working right before. And I was like, oh, I'm actually been in the mood to try. I have my Wacom tablet plugged in. I haven't done like digital art stuff in a while. Kind of in the mood to mess around. So I thought, you know what? I'll just go ahead and do some anyways. And I was like, I used to just record stuff and have a good time chatting with you guys and doing some sketching and stuff like that. So that's what we'll do. And my new philosophy is to stop stopping yourself. You can read more about that in my first blog post on spiritframeworks.com, because that's where I've been kind of sharing my thoughts and ideas and different things that I'm intrigued in. And it's a pretty simple philosophy. Stop stopping yourself. When you feel like doing something or you're getting the urge or the intention, go ahead and just act on it, and you can always stop. Like, I could literally just stop recording this right now. I could also choose not to upload this. It's a very real option. So, but I might as well just, if I feel like doing it, go ahead and do it and see if anything comes of it. And if not, then so be it. I still had fun, and I've moved closer to the full expression of my ultimate being, that kind of thing. So that's where we're at right now. And I'm actually really interested too in how to help people unlock their creativity. I'm here in South Africa now, and my girlfriend was pointing out that I'm able to create content pretty easily. I just kind of do it, I just make stuff, and doesn't mean it's always incredible. But it's that she was saying that that's actually a block that a lot of people have, is actually just making the stuff. So I was like, if I can help people just get out of that kind of blocked area and just start making stuff, I know that the stuff that you guys end up making is going to be awesome. So that's the first step. Stop stopping yourself. Just start to do stuff. So yeah, in today's Sketch-O-Rama, I'm just going to sketch some faces using kind of the new stuff I've been learning, and I'll share some of that stuff as well. I'm also curious in the comments below if you guys are here mostly for fantasy stuff, map drawing, or human anatomy, because actually a lot of the videos I have been doing really well. I was just looking at my metrics or whatever the other day, or just the top videos on this channel, and a lot of them are what's it called, human anatomy stuff, my kind of tips on how to draw people. So I wonder, and I always kind of lean more on the fantasy stuff, but the ones that are kind of, getting the most views and stuff are the ones that have nothing to do with fantasy. They have to do with drawing human beings in a simple way. So I'm going to give you my quick tip right now for drawing eyeballs that actually look like they're set into the skull. That's something I've been really trying to figure out the last couple days, and I'm getting close, but I didn't want to make an official tutorial because I don't have it completely keyed out. So that's why this is a Sketch-O-Rama. And that's a little tip too. You can just shade in the nose like that and leave the tip shiny, and it really kind of gives it depth, right? Because the nose and the cheeks tend to have a little bit of red to them. And if you put the red on the guy's cheeks, it looks like he's wearing blush. So we won't do that. So yeah, so how would you do the eyeballs? Let's have some big eyes staring at him. I'm going to try doing it this way, which is usually harder for me. Yeah, that's weird. Why is it harder to have him looking in this direction? So these kind of skewed ovals, you see what I'm saying? These are basically the eye sockets. If you were to put a skull together, you'd see something like that. Let's put in this, and like that, And this is the fantastic anatomy method, is to draw the skull. So maybe we'll go ahead and see how that works out. If I do that now using this newfound idea. And then we'll do one from front view, which actually is kind of trickier to make it still look like it's set in the face from front view. Then you got an eyeball in there. And just to make sure that this part is sunken in. Because if you put the nose, and also the other thing is, think of the face like a mountain. You know, if you draw a face from side view, it's like a mountain range, see? You got quite the atmosphere here. Here are the trees, right? Okay, I think you see what I'm talking about. And this is called Face Mountain. That would be a good place for like a fantasy, like mountain range, Face Mountain, or a ride at Disneyland. So you see what I'm saying? There's all these, but when you do front view, it's very easy to lose that and just have the features kind of flat on there. Actually, that looks kind of chill. You can keep it very simple. Ooh, I'll show you a very simple way to draw faces in here too. And I wish I remembered the artist's name. Will I be able to find that quickly? Sure, why not? Actually, I'll show you guys the Pen and Blade Pinterest, where I keep a lot of, like, you know, well, I do stuff that people do on Pinterest, but mostly it's like fantasy or drawing characters. Oh yeah, the internet's not working. That's the whole reason we're not live streaming now. Yeah, so we won't show you that, but you can find it on the Pen and Blade Pinterest. There's this guy who draws faces that look like this, and I absolutely love his style. It's like fantasy characters, but they're basically, he just does a line for the eyes, you know, and there's a little bit of something to it. It's hard to get it with the digital. There's a little shape to it. I've been trying to figure it out. You know, lines for the eyebrows, you know, a little line for the nose, little V, and then the lips could even be a straight line, but you could also kind of give it a little bit of curve or whatever. And that's it. I mean, isn't that actually a pretty cool looking face? Doesn't have too much personality. Let's give her a little personality, or him. I don't even know which it is. And I've got to remember to name my characters. This one is Larvis. It shall be a male. I don't know what he is. Like his eyes aren't big enough quite to be a gnome. He's just a fancy nobleman. Larvis. There he is. See, that's kind of cool, right? This one. This guy looks like he needs some more sleep. Oh no, that reminds me of the crazy kid from Akira. That kid is crazy. Alright, kind of got sidetracked here, but the face is like a mountain. So, you know, when you add your nose in there, you know, have it mountainous. I would say, like, when you're starting to draw stuff from like 3/4 views, or you're still not super confident, like exaggerate a little bit. So let's make the lips like super mountainous too. Because I think once you kind of exaggerated and been able to find out like what the actual form is, then you can dial it back and be more subtle about it more easily than if you start off, you know, being too timid and everything looks like it's flat, kind of stuck right there on the face. So that's what my tip is on kind of doing the face, learning to get the face to look like it's more like three-dimensionally happening. Okay, see, so here we're doing another layer of the eye socket. So I don't know, this isn't really anatomically like happening. And then basically you're gonna put the eyelids right over there and keep this line here as the front of the eye. So here you got the front of the eye, and you're gonna kind of have the two eyelids over and under. And then give it that little second lid on top, you know, following, it's right on top, remember that. And that the eyeball's underneath. And that's it. Like, you can kind of shade that in. I always have trouble placing the iris, but I guess the main thing is to have it touching the top lid and maybe a little bit covered by the top lid. See, but my guys tend to look like sleepy or bored, as you can see here. This is quite the nostril you've got there, sir. So yeah, this guy doesn't have too much character, you know what I'm saying? He looks like a pretty basic face, which is fine for practicing. I feel like, I mean, I guess everyone's got character. Or maybe he just has a similar character to like the basic faces I draw. I'm trying to think, how can I make that a little more interesting? I don't know if I need to right now, but I don't want to like, he doesn't have enough character to give him a name. You know, what can I do here? Give him a little chin dimple. And let's get rid of the gaunt lines here. Or actually, let's just start some more sketches. Let's see how that looks if I get rid of this. Emphasize his chin dimple. And what? I'm not going to worry about here because I don't seem to... I haven't studied that one recently yet in a more realistic style, so... I don't know. I know there's like tons of hairstyles, but I never seem to find out what they are. Okay, cool. So let's do a couple more like eyes like that. Let's just practice that for a little bit and then see what happens. We'll make a new thing. So we've got, let's do the eyes from front view using the same idea. So it's skewed kind of like that. Maybe not too much. You see, I kind of actually make this one more a triangle like this. And then putting the eyeballs inside. These aren't even, so they're not gonna, that's one of the main things to make the face look symmetrical, will be like almost the biggest thing to making your faces look like, I don't want to say good, because that feels very judgmental, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like when the faces are unsymmetrical, it looks like it was not done purposefully. That's not perfect, but it's good enough. And so you see, you kind of put that eyeball in there, the top lid, the bottom lid. Emphasize the top lid more than the bottom. A lot of times you can even get away with doing stuff like this. I've seen a lot of artists like, you know, like those are the eyes. And then you just put them, the mouth and the nose. You know what I'm saying? That's not quite happening, but I think you get the point. If you can't do that with the bottom lids, or can you? Let's try it. With no top lids, just the bottoms. Oh yeah, you could do it. You could do it, but your guy's gonna look like a total creep. And then the fantastic anatomy method where we put in the nose. I think I don't think I did the nose like that. I would actually just put in like a big shape like this for the nose. You can experiment with the shape. So let's do it in a less stereotypical nose shape, or not like less stereotypical, but like less just basic, like something more interesting. So we could go wider or skinnier. Usually I like to go wider. You get maybe a dwarven look that way, right? And then the nostrils are down here. And you can literally just take the middle and go like that. See, now it's got some depth to it. Underneath the nose will be a little darker. I have the nostrils wrap around. You see? Pretty simple. And you can start to mess around, or you can have the nose overhanging. So if the nostrils aren't sticking up, I'll do that in another one. Here, let's see. Same nose shape. These are the nostrils. And then the middle of the nose hanging down. So it's just this kind of, that kind of a shape, basically. And then same thing. Put a little thing there, a little shine. Don't whine, put a little shine. You know, I've been watching some Ethan Becker, so I'm learning to rhyme. And that's it. You do your eye things. You put your eyeballs inside the eyes. You put your eyelids and eye dots inside on the eyeballs. And something that looks like a face begins to emerge. Now, what about the distance from the nose to the mouth? That's something I've been working on. I'm not sure, but you know how you have those things? If you just put one of those things in there, that'll give you the basic idea. Make sure you don't get too close or too far, because I don't think you're going to be like, all right, I'm drawing a face, and my nose thing goes like that. Oh, you could. Oh, that looks great. Never mind. I take it back. And you can do whatever you want. This is a fantastic anatomy method. And I think that's what I'll end up with. Let me go back and try a fantastic anatomy method with some front view faces. But first, we're going to do a couple more from this side view, just quick ones, just to give you an idea and to practice on this digital medium. Yeah. Cool. Very cool, very cool. So see, that works out pretty decently. And then yeah, let's put that there. See, I'm kind of imagining it before I do it. And then you can just, with 2 lines, you can get a good mouth. One, and then the bottom lip. You don't even have to define the top lip. If you do define the top lip, it becomes more feminine. You see? So, it's a little idea tip too. So these are a little far away, you know, but that's okay. He's a wide eyes. He's got wide eyes. Maybe that's his nickname. Wide eyes. Ooh, that's a beautiful name. Or like an elven prince. Let's give him some elvish appeal. You know, maybe a long thin neck and a necklace with a beautiful leaf pendant, you know. And this is our friend Wide Eyes, and some, maybe his eyebrows go off like the elves in World of Warcraft. Wow, I like Wide Eyes. I'm into him. Cool. I don't think he needed the shiny nose and those vibes. There we go, just keep it a little more subtle. He's got a bit of a smirk. I put a little dot, you know, to get that little dimple or whatever going on. Cool. I'm digging Wide Eyes. Let's make a little more room for a couple more eyes. I don't want to start a new page yet because Wide Eyes is so cool. Watching over our sketch pad. Oh, and you better be sketching along too. If you're not sketching along, you're doing it wrong. You see what I'm saying? You see what I did there? It rhymes, so it must be true. So let's give this like the mountain thing we're talking about. Let's make this mountain range quite mountainous. Okay. And one other tip is, so you make your little, you know, you got your little mountain V like this, and then you're gonna come right around here because there's that space between right there, and that's about, you know, around where the nostril should come back to. Okay, and then you can sweep the nostril around. See, it's like an S. See this S shape? And then it goes back under. And that's what creates a nostril. So that's one way to like start getting your nostrils on. This is just all the random tips, little tidbits. And I think I'll start making videos on this, like how to draw a nostril. You know, that's a good video. That's SEO friendly for sure. So we've got the mountain ranges for the mouth tins. Yes, mouth tins. And so this isn't quite, it's working. But you know, if you get the little boop, 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 there's mountains everywhere. That's a little more anatomically viable. So we've got these hills, lip hills. You see what I'm saying? Lils. So you've got, what do we have? We have mouth pins and lils. All right. If you remember mouth pins, these ones here, and lils, these ones here, you're well on your way. And then always give your characters a swirly mustache. And I think if you do all those tips, you'll have a career as a character designer before you know it. That's pretty much it. So I forgot about the whole eye thing. So we got to see how the eyes are kind of like fitting in there. We're fitting them. And then the thing is, when you do this, and you can line up the eyes. You can line up the eyes. And once you've lined up the eyes, your face is looking a lot more like symmetrical. And this guy's checking out Wide Eyes because he's like, wow, That guy's pretty cool, but he does not have a mustache. Let's give this guy thick eyebrows. See, he's kind of, this is snarky. Thick, dark eyebrows. Very snarky, my friend, very snarky. Okay, cool. Let's leave it like that for now. And then a tip for the neck. So I have a bunch of how to draw neck videos because that always, I struggled with that. So the thing that I've been doing, which actually has helped me figure it out, is what the first thing I did is these masks. So you see this in a lot of videos. Okay, and then the chin goes below, it connects over here, you put the ear in, you stick a ball inside, and then for some reason you just kind of know that this ball connects down, and then like the other part of the neck actually connects like almost up to that ball. See how it goes through? Because the head is overturned. So even if you do something like looking up, which is traditionally a tricky angle, you know, then you put the ball in here. You got your connection here. And then you know it's connecting, see the ball's over here? You know it's connecting all the way up there. Look at that. Doesn't that actually look like it makes sense? Like I've always struggled with the neck. And so we got our mouth pins, our nose mountain. Let's put this in here. Using kind of, the pen I'm using is a little thick for the size I'm drawing. So maybe make it a little thinner. Let's see what it looks like. But yeah, getting the eyes at an upward angle and stuff, I haven't really practiced that. Oh, it's still quite large. But we know that because of this, you know, this, everything's gonna be like that on some level. So it kind of works. We've got our S. We did a tiny S there. I don't know if you noticed. And then what is it? Our lip. Yeah, our lip hills or whatever. So I mean, it looks like a face. It looks like a face looking up, right? It does. I think it does. Totally does. Okay, cool. So let's do some fantastic. Let's do one more. We didn't do many of the eyes. One last one of the eyes, so you can totally get the vibe. So when you're drawing along, you know how to do it. You can literally just start with the eyes and then work your way out. That's what I've been doing, just because I want to get the eyes down. Right, and then you can just add the nose. Probably putting it over here somewhere. This kind of a shape. Do my little S. And now here, and then there's these. It's like a secondary brow on top. I don't know how that fits with the skull and the anatomy, but it seems to work and look right. So I'm not gonna overthink it for now. And then see, I almost put it lips up here. That's a little high, right? There's no room for the little, what are we gonna call that? I don't know what we call it. Whatever we call it. It's been called the U, the under nose U. All right, the under nose U. Very clever. And that's it. The under nose U. We did our lip things. We didn't really get our mouth pins in there. Mouth pins. So to try to do that, you see I'm kind of coming out a little bit more there. So instead of kind of keeping it like this, just kind of keeping this angle. I'm aware that there's something like that going on. But then it also might, anyways, all right. And that's something I'll have to figure out on my own. I haven't worked it out too much. And then also, this is also from an Ethan Becker one, where he talks about this face shape. And then you put the eyes in there, nose and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. Oh, I forgot I can just turn this over and erase. Oops. I'm too used to my Apple Pencil, which doesn't have that feature. Now I've got my Wacom. Oh, okay, there we go. So, What am I talking about this thing for? Not sure. But alright, cool. So let's just do a couple Fantastic Anatomy faces, and then we'll be good to go. That's how I'm feeling. I want to see how this works. And I'll keep them front view. We'll make 3 faces. Traditional. We're going back to the tradition of making 3, random faces, and we'll name them and give them a little bit of a vibe. So with Fantastic Anatomy, we tend to like to not. Let me sip some coffee. Clearly, I'm not charged up enough. We tend to not to like to make we forget about proportions. We say, farewell proportions, we shall see you in another age. So today I shall make a tall face, a triangular face, and I tend to not like round faces. They don't seem as exciting, but you know what? Let's challenge ourselves with a small round face. Okay, and I'm gonna make these all a little bigger because we want to mark it a good size so we can see what we're doing with the features well enough. And I should have just made this whole thing. When I upload it, I'll just zoom in on this area, actually. That's fine, I'll just crop it. Because, yeah, you don't need to see all this other fancy stuff on the side. Okay, cool. So, I won't zoom in right now. It's good to work zoomed out when you're practicing, I think. So we're gonna start with some eye sockets. And if you might notice, I'm giving them an ever so slight bend like this, but I don't actually have to do that. Let's go crazy. Let's go see what happens if we do something completely different. Like, what if it, instead of the triangle upside down, usually I would make the eye sockets more like this. What if we do the triangles right side up? Like little Hershey's Kisses. Okay? Then we were drawing the skull, so we got our nose hole, our nasal cavity probably, or something like that. And then remember our U, we can make this come down as far as we want, so let's make this a crazy one and have it come all the way down to here. And then he's got a ginormous, enormous chin, which I probably am going to give some side beard to. We'll see what happens. And actually, maybe a nice mustache. We'll get to that in a moment. All right, no, you know what? If we set the mustache in early, I think we're going to be happy about it. Oh, wow. It's already got a lot of character. The ears come from between, here to here sort of thing, from the bottom of the nose to the top of the eyes. And this guy looks very silly so far. Okay. And then the nose, actually, so that's the nasal cavity. It's going to come down below that. And we're going to do our shape like that. We're going to put our eyes in, so we put the eyeball inside the eye socket. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller because I tend to make my eyes too big, I've noticed. So let's try making it a little bit smaller. And so I'm going to mirror this shape, so see how this is kind of more towards the inside here. So I'm going to kind of come over here and be like, okay. To mirror that over here so they're symmetrical, and a little bit of the under, but I'm going to keep that lighter as we talked about. I'll put the iris in there, stick the iris in there somewhere. Cool. I think this one's a little bit closer. See how they don't look quite lined up, so maybe this one's right underneath. Little details like that make a difference too. Okay, cool. That looks better to me. And so kind of going the upper eyebrow and kind of see how like shading it in here. Now the eyes look like there's depth. The sunlight's coming from above, so anything below would get some shadow. So under the nose, the top lip, under the bottom lip. These are the places where you'll tend to get some shadow. And then let's kind of just fill them out from here. Give them that nice sideburns. Give them a pretty mustache. Ooh, this would look nice with some color. I would probably make his beard and mustache like a crazy color. My first character in World of Warcraft, who I have a dear relationship with, was Cabbage Face, the gnome warlock, and he had a very nice bright green beard and mustache. Look at this chin. So if we were gonna name this guy, I feel like my naming skills are you know, they're rusty. They're rusty. I used to name a lot of characters, and I would just come up with a word that made no sense, and it would be that's his name. Like, sir, you gonna name this fellow? I was just talking about how my naming skills are rusty. There's no video, so you can just speak. We're just recording the screen. I think it's gonna be Sir or Lord something.
Oh, definitely.
Lord Phileas, you know, something like that. What do you think?
Phileas. Lord Phileas.
Lord Fensworth.
Oh, yes, that's the one.
Is that the one?
That is the one.
All right. Wow. That was not as hard as I expected. Lord Fensworth. So I was saying we were gonna live stream, but we didn't because the internet stopped working.
I know, right?
I think we're in load shedding because actually.
We're not 10 on the dot. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that makes sense because I was just noticing my thing isn't charging either. So Lord Fensworth is in charge of the arcane power grid of his city, Lanarlia. And he actually does not do a great job because he's running all these strange experiments that require a large power load of arcane energies. He's trying to discover the secrets of magic. So he's actually a part-time wizard, but he's got a lot of like more advanced wizards on his payroll. So he mostly is like a project manager for the arcane experiments. But a lot of times they go into load shedding at whatever the name of that city is that I just said, because he's just draining the power grid. And they've only got like 3 dragons that they're able to resource.
Oh, wow.
They got them like plugged in to these like power things, and then they just feed the dragons, and the dragons supply arcane energies. So it's a pretty weird place to be. So that's it. That's the story of Lord Fensworth. Is that good?
That's
Do you have anything to add?
That's super interesting.
No? Yes? No? Is that it? Well, I'm going to start with...
If I think of anything, I'll let you know.
Let me know. All right. Next, we've got this triangular face. So this one, we're keeping it the brows. I actually really liked how this one turned out. So actually, I don't want to go back to my traditional upside down triangle eyebrow vibe and try out maybe just a pure circle. And then how do you fit the eyes into the pure circle? It's very subtle. It's in there. And then, you know, we got our nasal cavity. We got our cheekbones coming down into the mouth. And this one looks like he's looking off in this direction a little bit. So I'm just going to work with that and go ahead and let him look off into that direction. And we're going to give him some nice elvish ears. A little bit low. This guy's going to be a goblin, I'm sure. He looks goblinoid. He's probably Lord Fensworth right-hand man. Right-hand goblin. Goblar. Lynn the goblin. Finn the goblin. Finjan, the goblin prince. He's a self-proclaimed goblin prince. He doesn't actually rule over anything, but he's very fancy for a goblin. So he drinks coffee in small cups. That's exactly what he does. So one thing you can do with the noses is just make a shape like this and then just go like that. I think I've kind of already talked about it, but you can keep it super simple and it still looks pretty good. He drinks coffee in small cups. Could even give him a small cup of coffee right here. On his veranda. He says, "Oh, hello there. Would you care for a spot of veranda?" He doesn't really know what the word means. Okay. He would tell you different, but I'm not gonna argue. Maybe it doesn't matter. So another mouth thing is you can do these unconnected lines, and for some reason that works. See what I did there? I don't know. Try it out. See what happens. Keep the chin pointy, always. Unless you're Lord Fensworth, then keep it very round. And you know, let's give him some chin hairs. Because even though he's a goblin prince, he doesn't shave that much. I don't know, he's not actually that fancy. Finjan, the goblin prince. Yeah, let's leave it. I was like, should we change that? He does look like a Finjan. Alright. So we've got him. So let's see the eyes. How are we gonna do this? Like, so one thing is if we keep the eyes flat, then he's gonna look kind of grumpy. And maybe, if we're lucky, even just a little bit snooty. You see, you can keep the eyebrows on one line so they feel connected, not too disjointed. As such. And then I don't think he has any hair, because if he did, Lord Fensworth would feel, you know, very off-put. Or maybe he should have hair to compensate, like a lot of hair. Let's see what that looks like. Oh wow, okay. Okay, yes. No, this is Finjan the Goblin Prince right here. You see what's happening? He has princely hair. Very nice, very nice. Look at those chins. You need a strong chin in the city of whatever I said over here. Why is there an arrow looking at this guy? Because he's Lord Fensworth. There's a little cup of coffee coming out of this arm that's coming out of nowhere. I think it should be more like that. I don't know. Anyways, we're not going to do the whole body right now. That'd be a bit much. Alright, cool. And finally, we shall create our third character with this round, small face. Let's make the eyes wide apart because that worked the first time. And let's give them the opposite. So instead of usually the inward angle like this that I tend to work with, right? We're gonna go the opposite way. So this might look a little alien. We'll see. We'll see. And let's see if we can make this. I've been trying to draw more female characters then. So we'll make the eyes a little bigger, you know. Maybe accentuate the upper lid even more. And I think the nose will be like a little bit smaller and higher up to make it more feminine. And the round face will help with the feminine, to make her seem more feminine. Okay, let's give some cute little round ears. And slightly larger lips. Remember we say we can emphasize upper lips. And I think with females the under nose U is a little bit smaller. Don't quote me on that, but it might be true. Alright, we got something going on here. And then what kind of glorious hair can we do here? Maybe not too long. Something like that could be cute. And then a thinner neck was usually going to help keep it feminine. And she can be Illustria. The royal scribe. And she kind of keeps these two guys in line because clearly their egos are out of control. And she's actually very old. She's an elf, so let's give her some elven ears. And it's one of her pet peeves that everyone thinks she's like 14 years old or something like that. But she's actually like in her like not 100 years old yet, but she's getting close. She's in her 90s. Right? And so maybe she wears earrings to look a little more, like, to try to look a little, that does make her look a little older and more sophisticated. And they actually have like these cool, like, you know, Saturn's rings, and they like genuinely the rings just float around them. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just like the magical, I'm guessing like this is like a gemstone of some sort, like some blue gemstone maybe, and this is like a ring of gold, and it just kind of floats around it, which is pretty cool, I think. All right, I think that's it. I think we've created our characters. We've used the Fantastic Anatomy method. I'm wondering at some point if I want to, once I've kind of gotten this down more, I might make a proper course. I've already kind of done it on what is this platform? YouTube, where it's like a whole series and it shows you the whole Fantastic Anatomy method. But I'm thinking about doing something like on Udemy to expand my horizons a little bit. Is that something that you guys would be interested in? And like, if I'm making some income here, who knows what the future could hold? We could do all sorts of crazy things with money. What would we do? We'd build a pen and blade theme park. Oh, that would be super awesome. Ooh, now she looks more like serious. Actually, she needs to be lighter because these people lighten the mood. She has no eyebrows. That's another weird thing about Illustria. Yeah, pen and blade theme park, where you learn to draw and duel and wield the powers of the arcane arts, you know, that kind of thing. So I guess that's it for now. Peace, God bless, and stay fantastic, everyone.